Hi, I'm Saul Prop, and welcome to How Do I Photoshop? You're going to learn how to Photoshop. And so the first thing, of course, on using Photoshop is how to make a file. Photoshop's actually pretty nifty when it comes to creating new files. And you might wonder, like, what's the default size for an image? It's actually whatever your last copied image is. So you can see right now it's 262 by 350. If I go to Google and search, like, photography, meta, and click this picture. No, other one. View original image. Is this not? Well, I mean, that's what all of Photoshop is, you know? That's the whole point. Suddenly it changed the default pixel width and height, and that's really useful because you don't even have to, you can find out the dimensions of a picture just by copying and pasting. Like hidden tricks. What's your point, Henry?
Okay, so say if you up the resolution, how will that affect, will it affect the ultimate dimensions of pixels if you say up the resolution from 72 to...
It's not going to up the resolution of a picture. It's not magic, unfortunately. Damn. But you can lower it.
Okay.
No, I mean, it's a shame that that picture, you know, isn't a good one, even though it's photography. You would think. But to start off, I would, well, first I guess I should mention what is a good resolution. When you're creating a new thing, I'd recommend like 300 is a pretty professional standard pixels per square inch. But we're going to forego that for a little bit and start off by finding just a random picture to edit. So I'd like you all to search dorm room on your computers. Because as I promised, a key part of Photoshop is knowing how to incriminate other people using it. So, find a good picture, maybe a dorm room desk. Yeah, like this one. View original image. You don't have to use this one, but anything with a dorm room desk or any other sort of surface you don't mind, it isn't yours. You wouldn't want to incriminate yourself. Would not be wise. Immediately it tells you the width, height, and resolution of the picture. It's only 72, but whatever. Control paste it in there. And then the next step is, of course, to find an image to put in the picture. Now you can use any image of beer if you want to, but I'd recommend one with a solid color background, either black or white. Let's see. I don't think we'll make it too classy. Like,
Saul, how do I download Photoshop?
you should have done that beforehand, but you can go to Adobe's website and they have free trials available. And they are free.
Oh, it does? I don't think it does. I just like half.
So next, just copy the image and paste it in there. It's way too big. It's unfortunate that the picture of the beer is higher resolution than the picture of the room, but how to make do with what you got. So this is a good time to introduce the first of the many Photoshop tools that are really, really useful. The transform tool, and specifically the free transform tool. You just press Apple T to get to it, and what you can do is you can actually preserve the dimensions of the original picture. So you might notice that if I do this, I can slide it this way or this way. It doesn't really preserve the dimensions. Just by pressing Shift, it locks it in place, and I can move it over. Shift drag brings it back down again. There we go. It's still pretty large, so maybe like that. Actually no. Up there for now. Another really useful tool is the Magic Wand tool. And you want to make sure you have the correct layer selected. If I did this, it's selecting that part of the picture. I don't want that part of it. Oh no. Okay. So, as you can see, it's selecting this part right here of the beer. So, to fix that, we're going to change the tolerance. Yes.
That doesn't work in Windows. You know this, right? The frame transform.
Really?
You have to do Control T.
Oh, yeah, Control T, yeah.
Yeah.
And the shift part still works, right?
Yeah, it's just part of
Shift
Shift to still maintain the ratios? Okay.
Yeah.
So we just lower the tolerance. And then suddenly it got it. That's pretty neat, huh? Like that. Then it doesn't select to the other side, but you just shift click to select multiple areas. Then to delete, just like that. And there you go. You have just the beard with nothing around it. Actually, that kind of looks a little fuzzy. So, what we should do is go to Image. Oh no, I'm sorry. Select, Modify, and Expand by a single pixel. That just moves. You would think it's contracting because it's bringing this in, but if you imagine this is the selected area, it's just expanding the border by a single pixel on every side. Then you can delete. It's a little more smooth. Apple T again, and Shift Drag to bring it down to a small, more reasonable size for this person to have on their desk. This is presumably an underage dorm room resident. This is great for all you RAs if you ever really, really hate one of your residencies and just want to get rid of them. And then, let's see.
Actually, I use weed.
Okay. Just put a bomb over there too. It would work. Let's see. So yeah. But you might notice that this is kind of obvious. Someone would say, well, that's just photoshopped in there. Look at it. It's just sitting on top of my desk. There's nothing in front of it that would demonstrate that it's clearly in the original picture. But we can do that. We have the technology. So, one of the cool things about Photoshop is not everything's done in a single layer. You can see right here that we have 3 layers already. We only have 2 things in there. One of them's the background. Don't worry about it. We don't even need it really. But if you select layer 1, and let's zoom in. Cool trick for zooming in, hold Option and scroll forward. Ooh, fancy. And let's just get this part right here. Oh, I got 1 pixel off here. So I'm using the nudge commands. That's just the arrow keys. Nudge things around by a single pixel, which is really handy. And in this way. Ooh, actually, okay, you don't have to be this like OCD, but if you want to be, you can add individual pixels because you can see that there's this part right here where it's half laptop, half not laptop. Just holding Shift changes that cursor or that crosshair to a crosshair plus, and in this way you can add more pixels. And now I'll do it to the. Nah, I don't need to do it to the top. I'm gonna Apple X or Command X if you're on a PC. New layer. That's what this button does down here. Drag the new layer to the top. Apple V. And it should snap to. It's not gonna snap to. We can nudge it in place.
I have a question, Saul. Is there a, do you have to click on it to ask it to snap to something? No?
No, and it's not actually snapping to it very well.
Does it usually do that?
No, I'm just nudging it in place. It kind of got it to around here, then it was confused and didn't know what to do. Just using the arrow keys, you can manipulate it around.
Snaps easier. So I know in Illustrator, if you use the command D, that will paste whatever you copied directly behind the selected item.
Let's try that.
Do you know if that works in Photoshop?
Nope, that's color balance.
Oh, okay.
It was a cool thing though. I didn't know that. He was talking about Illustrator. Don't worry. Don't worry. So, now we have the computer on 2 different layers. So now, you can put it behind there. Ooh. Oh, except this part right here kind of looks ugly. So another cool trick, holding Command or Control if you're on a PC. You can select a layer manually just by clicking on it. So here, select it. So you can see down there, it selected that layer. Clicking this selects the beer. Selecting this selects this part. So you don't have to go all the way over to here. Looks pretty reasonable. Now you could say, well, your laptop was in front of it. There's no way graphic design is so advanced that you could do that with your computer. It's obvious that beer was there in the first place. Alright, so now you've successfully incriminated your resident or enemy or whatever. But
What if you want to add shadow?
You can use the burn tool.
could use the burn tool. But that's for a different part. I'm gonna discuss that in just like different.
Simmer down.
Or you also may want to move it up a little bit because it's currently not on the same level as the computer.
Oh, you mean like this?
And you can change the darkness. So,
Yeah.
But then the shadow of the computer comes in right there. But we can change that with my favorite tool, the clone tool. Featured in Star Wars Attack of the Clone Tool. Alright, so the first things first. We gotta decrease the size on this, it's too large. We'd use a larger size if we were dealing with a higher resolution picture, but as it is, there's not many pixels in this picture. It's only 72 per square inch, which is not a lot at all. It's indicative of terrible quality of the photo. And I don't think all of you are on CS6, but if you are, they've added this really cool feature where it will show you how it's going to edit the layer before you actually click and edit it. So like this. And now it doesn't look like the computer's actually casting a shadow. But you're right, we could add a drop shadow with this. Want to do that in this part? Was there interest in adding a shadow?
Yeah. Instead of
I'd
shadow.
love to add a shadow.
Alright, cool. Double click this part right here. We have a drop shadow. Let's see, what's the lighting in this picture look like?
Where did you click?
Where did I click?
Double click.
I just double click the layer. And go to drop shadow. There's many different types, and it will give you orientation. Let's see. And they can be a little weird, like the distance, it'll kind of, yeah, now the shadow's all the way over there. You don't really want that. But I mean, it's cool.
So one thing you can never mind.
Yeah, it is.
Okay,
Good call.
let's see. Yeah, like that. Or maybe down, other side.
Cast a shadow. That looks like it's levitating.
Very good point.
So what you could do is copy the same layer of the beer, and then duplicate that, and then
It's a very good point, actually.
duplicate that, and then put it on the other side of it, and play around with the angle, and then just make it dark so it looks like shadow.
Yeah, I like that. Let's try that. So let's put this one beneath it. And you're saying use a fill to like make it darker?
But no, you can just go to the image brightness dark. Just
Oh yeah,
brightness.
and just make it dark.
Yep. Okay.
No.
Completely dark. Actually, no.
Nah.
Control U.
Control
You don't have
U.
control.
Oh.
Then the lightness start to the dark. The lightness to the darkness. It becomes completely black.
But that's a little intense. Maybe we should lower the opacity.
Yeah, you could do that. Yeah.
And then it kind of gets this ethereal, ghostiness
Yeah.
to it.
There you go.
And
So I have a question. What's opacity?
opacity is the extent to which something's clear. It's like in computer, you can imagine we have like red, green, blue in our everyday life. Computers have a fourth one called opacity. And 100% means completely solid, yeah. Yeah, it's opaqueness.
Oh,
so you
okay.
can make things sort of see.
Oh, right.
And if you're ever
okay.
doing programming stuff, if you're like trying to define a color, you define it by its 4 color values: red, green, blue, opacity. Actually, I think one's magenta, not red. Cyan, maybe. But we're in instructional technology, not informational technology, so we don't have that. Luckily. There's a lot of cool stuff we can do with the clone tool, though. I love the clone tool. I mean, it's great we didn't have to use it to make the shadow, but there's so many cool things we can do with it. It's just really a crime not to pay tribute to it. So, let's get a bigger size. All right, cool. How to use the clone tool is you use Option, and that pretty much creates your selected area. So say we want to say, nah, we don't like this stuff over here. We want to get rid of this mysterious green box, whatever it is, and replace it with a bunch more books. So, you click there, pressing Option to do that, and it gives you that little crosshair again. And then, check it out. victim will never know the difference. And,
Did you just copy it?
no, clone tool,
Yeah.
the coolest tool. No way. Okay. So let's see with this. Press that, move it over. Oh, I'm on the wrong layer. Okay. So this is a good example. Holding Apple or Control if you're on a PC, selecting this, switches you over to this layer. Doesn't it? No? Is it not doing it? Maybe because it's in the clone tool.
Are you just clicking?
Mm-hmm. And it does it all for you.
There's
It-
a bookshelf. Okay, but it's getting the boxes coming to the front.
Mm-hmm. It's because it remembers where it was before you let go of it.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That is so cool.
And you can pretty much like do anything with this. It's really fantastic.
That's one of the-
In freshman year, I made one of my friends a girl just by like clone tooling his entire head, and it was really great. And then he made me into a lizard. We had a lot of fun in high school.
Change people's faces.
I mean, and I'm sure no one will notice that all the books are actually the same thing, and that they're leaking a little bit into there. You could change that if you wanted to.
What's that green stuff on the left? Or on the right, sorry.
That's just his wall. It's a little ugly, I know, but we can make it even more studious if we want to. Extend the bookshelf vertically too.
Oh, look at that.
I mean, now it's kind of sending a mixed image though, because he does have VR on his desk and also all these books. Like, I don't know what to think of this guy.
Party hard, play hard.
All right, but the principle we're doing this with VR on a desk, you can really do this with anything. If you want to Photoshop someone's face onto someone else's body, totally possible. It's not as easy sometimes because you can't use the magic wand tool if it's not a solid colored background, but you can always fix that just by using a combination of the various selecting tools and something a little less like specific than the magic wand is the quick selection tool, which will just grab various shapes. Kind of. It's a little smarter, but it gives its best judgment. So
Which one was that? Which tool was that?
it's underneath the magic wand or above the magic wand tool, and it's the quick selection tool.
Does CS6 have support for the magnetic lasso tool?
I'm not sure if they still have that. Yes, they do. This is a cool one too. Oh, no, it's up there. But it does something similar. I've never actually had much luck with it because it always sticks to the wrong things, then you have to start all over. It's not as easy to add things to as it is with the magic wand tool. But, hey, whatever floats your boat. Alright, so,
How do you change the tolerance?
the tolerance?
Yeah, I just missed that.
Yeah, sure. So, it's up here. Tolerance,
Oh,
like 5. I mean, we've got like a really high tolerance, 100. Like, you'll select a lot of the picture. It's like, that's all the same color. Yeah, I'll press it. The same tolerance is used with the quick selection tool, but once again, the quick selection tool doesn't go for individual colors so much as patterns and shapes. So, it inherently has a higher tolerance. Kind of. Alright, so, you can really apply this to most things. No, I'm not going to save that.